Hey, 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 it's Friday and it's time. Let's just call it Fry-yay. Fry-yay in honor of you because you are amazing, like truly amazing. But the only limitations that you have in your potential, what you could accomplish, what your legacy is going to be written about when you're gone, what people say about you when you're gone, all of that stuff is in your hands. And it's within the power of your own mind to accept your potential, to accept what you know inside, what you felt all along, calling you, pulling you. If you allow that, it'll happen. But most of the time, because of bad programming or what someone else says that we took on as our identity, changes all of that. Because the only limitations in your life are in your own mind. And it's just one of the things we have to get used to. We have to accept. We have to look at the potential of that being real, of it being true, because some of us want to play victim all the time. That no matter what happens to us, it's someone else's fault. And there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that go down that pathway. But I'm just going to challenge you that whatever it is that's happening to you, and this is kind of a theme I've been doing for the last couple days, especially yesterday, there's always going to be negatives, there's always going to be positives. If you're stuck in a negative season, just be patient. Positive things are coming because everything has to be in balance. But the whole thing about that is if you allow yourself to have less and be less and blame it on other people so that you feel better about yourself, if that's a coping mechanism that's working for you, I guess my question is, how long are you going to let that work? Or is it really working for you? Because I want you to just look at who you are. What brings smiles to your face? What makes you feel fulfilled? What if you had a cup of contribution, like my cup here, if you had one of these and you're measuring what goes into it that just makes you feel good, and you may look at it and it's bone dry. There's a lot of that has to come right back on ourselves, on what we allow. And let me explain that. Is that I heard one time when I was in chiropractic college, one of my mentors, one of my early mentors, Dr. Charles Ward was his name. He said, if I talked to you the way you talk to yourself, you'd hate me. And I didn't quite understand what he said. And then he said it again. If I talked to you the way you talk to yourself, you'd hate me. And he said, think about it. When there's something that is challenging, something that could be a great potential for you, a possible victory, what does that little voice inside say oftentimes? Oh, you can't do that. You're not worthy of that. That's not meant for you. He goes, that's what I'm talking about. You let that voice talk to you all the time and you just accept it. But if I were to see you're trying to go after something, you're going after a goal, you're going after an accomplishment, you're trying to start a company, you're trying to write a book, trying to buy a car, make a big investment, whatever the case may be. And I tell you, who are you to think you could do that? You can't do that. You've always been a loser. Like, excuse me? I'm not going to let you talk to me that way, but you talk to yourself like that all the time. That's when I was like, and it all comes down to conditioning or programming. From the moment we are young, by the time we are 18 years old, we are told no, or no, you're not capable of that. No, you're not qualified for that. No, you're not worthy of that. 180,000 times. That's crazy. Anytime you hear no, you're not worthy of that, you're not capable of that, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not tall enough, you're not sexy enough, you're not handsome enough, you're not whatever, fill in the blank. When we hear that 180,000 times by the time we reach adulthood, what kind of programming do you think we're going to carry around? And a lot of that is other people telling us, and that may be their fault, but our fault is embracing that, taking ownership of that and making it our own. That's not for you to do, my friend. So the bottom line is I want to read to you something out of the book of the Holy Bible. In chapter 1 of Genesis, the very first book in the Bible, it's Genesis 1:27. And it makes it very, very clear on who you are, what your identity is, what your persona should be, and probably contrary to the way you view yourself or what you're allowing in your life for the most part. And this is what it says. It says, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So you were created in God's image. The guy who created the entire universe and I mean, just think about that. If you are created in the image of the guy who created the universe, the potential for you is immeasurable. Start to own that. You deserve better than you're getting. So you may have a personality that you have accepted, meaning your identity among other people or how people view you. And as a result of something, maybe I remember one time in high school, I think it was my sophomore year. It was my junior year. And one of my instructors said something to me. He called me a derelict and told me that I would never amount to anything in life. Now, without knowing the backstory, you may be thinking, man, that teacher was harsh. And he was. But I had every bit of, I had discipline coming and I had retribution coming on some level because I shamed him in front of class. And the story was, I wasn't paying attention. I was screwing around like I normally do. I've got very short attention span. I was looking at squirrels that weren't there, and I was just not paying attention in class during the lecture in a math class. And it was obvious. The teacher saw and that I was not paying attention and called me out and said, how would you solve this problem? And I wasn't paying attention at all. I was daydreaming about something. And I thought, okay, well, I'm totally embarrassed. I'm put on the spot. I'm going to make people laugh. Because when I grew up feeling very, very insecure, very shy, very unworthy in my life because of the traumas that I had in my life. And I had a very bad self-image. But the way I combated that was to excel in school and excel in sports. So if somebody saw that I was doing good in sports or doing good in school, they wouldn't pay attention to my private life and my home life that was not good. And so it was a disguise. It was a defense mechanism. It was a facade that I put on. And comedy was also one of them. I was voted class chatterbox in my 8th grade year because that's part of my defense mechanism. If I can make people laugh and talk to people, they're not going to see the real me that I really, really struggled with. And so I got up, and this was back when they had chalkboards, not dry erase boards, chalkboards, real chalk on a green board. And he said, how would you solve this problem? And I said, like this. I grabbed the eraser and I erased the problem, and I put the eraser back down and I started walking back to my desk. And Mr. Ryder was his name, freaked out. Accordingly, because I embarrassed him and I erased the entire problem that he wrote up there. Got a big laugh out of the kids, but what the class went silent when he told me I was a derelict, that I would never amount to anything, and to get out of class. So embarrassed me, I embarrassed him, he embarrassed me because he responded out of emotion. But I took what he said to heart. I took ownership of that because I looked up to Mr. Ryder. He was a great guy. And I just did something stupid that day and took on part of that identity for years and decades. That little voice when I'm about to do something, who are you? You're a derelict. You're not going to amount to anything in life. Now, Mr. Ryder didn't intend for me to take on that identity. He didn't intend for me to make that part of my personality and my own identity. He was just mad because I embarrassed him. And I never faulted him for it, because I deserved it. I had what was coming. I mean, maybe his words were a little harsh, but I took ownership of that. I could have just dismissed it, but I didn't. I took ownership of it. And so for a long, 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 long time, it hindered me. It plagued me. It cursed me until I released it, until I said in my mind, no, I'm better than that. God created me in his image to do great things, to help a lot of people around the world, and to have a lifetime ministry that blesses people. You got something similar, my friend. If you are breathing right now and you're watching this video, there is a major calling on your life to do something amazing. You may not even know what it is yet, but if you quiet that little voice, and maybe the voice of yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, you're not good enough, you're not whatever it is, if you shut that voice up and you start listening to the voice of the Creator that says, I created you in my image, you can do anything you set your mind to. That's the reality. That's the truth. That's what you were created for. So dismiss all the other stuff that your mind is telling you and say, nope, I don't believe that. Nope, I'm evicting you out of my head. Cancel. Nope, done. And don't listen to it anymore. Change your life by changing your mind. When you change your mind and you accept that whatever is out, if somebody else has done it, you can do it. Just look at it that way. It's super simple. If somebody has done already what you want or what you're going after, so can you. Just follow what they did and stop listening to the voice that's reprogramming your mind, and then stop listening to that own voice who tries to override what you are worthy of. Just cancel it out. Spend this weekend, watch this video over again if you need to. Spend this weekend ruminating on that. Spend this weekend complimenting yourself. Spend this weekend looking for the good traits that you love about yourself. Write them down, take ownership of them, and forget all the other stuff. Because you are created in God's image, and you are worthy of everything that you have ever wanted. So go get it. Have a great day. Take care, and God bless.